now he has just superannuated. He is also with World University and he is a nuclear physics person. So his talk about would be from stellar crashes to gold rings. The science of neutron star. So this basically is a continuation of the talk which was given by Joseph. You can see Joseph was mentioning about the neutron star. Now the science of neutron star is what is going to cover 25 plus 5.
Hello. Okay. First of all, I thank the organizer for this neurons of the massive star. They are incredibly dense, above the mass of the sun in a 20-kilometer diameter. They fascinated scientists for their experiments. So, this was a big part of the so the death of a high mass star with this theory is electron degeneracy, but weight to are survive because of electron degeneracy. So there is a difference between weight work and two work. So mass, the maximum mass of a weight work is 0.4. However, the mass of the minimum mass of a neutron star it is more than 100. So neutron star that emit regular radio pulsar 3 up to 700 times per second. We detect them like light. So this is like so the model analysis of the model study of neutron star started in 1990, and it is actually you can realize, how you can see what is the edge of the sound, how you can know that it is more or not, or it is less sound. You can know that from the color of the flesh. So when this color is blue in the flesh, then blue going then less of that, then yellow less, less of color less, then red is blue. So
Sir, I have a question, very layman question. So, what will be the fate of this neutron star? Will it convert to become a black hole? Fate of this neutron star?
Your question, when two neutron stars merge, what will be the endpoint? That is the question.
What is the neutron star as a isolated object?
Isolated, it will be there forever. It cannot be a black hole. And black hole mass should be more than 5 times of neutron.
Forever. Lifetime is forever.
Because it doesn't mean any way. The sun will die, but the neutron can never die. Unless it is not to happen.
It will exist in this universe for infinite
Oh,
time.
yeah, it is like that.
Neutron star, for example, in nucleus, so heavy nucleus, sometimes neutrons decay into proton and beta particles.
In neutron star, I told you its composition is proton, neutron and electron.
Yes.
And around 90% are neutron, 10% proton, and the number of proton equal to the number of electron. So in this way, it may be dynamical.
Electron will not decay. Not out of this surface. From the surface of this neutron. Usually, black holes usually decay by what is that Hawking radiation, radiating Hawking radiation. Not of the surface. They don't get over the surface. Okay, what that? Thank you, and a very fascinating object. We hope that some of the younger people who are here take some of this for study in the future. So now this third talk is by Nano Sao, Dr. Nano Sao. Nano did his PhD combined in Kanpur, biophotonics. Then he was in Cornell as a postdoc. Just recently he has joined our Center for Quantum and Technology in Small University. Yeah. 20 plus 5. 20 plus 5.
Thank you, Professor Batra. I'd like to wish all the teachers there a happy Teachers Day. Okay. Going on from higher physics, I will go into the data analysis, which many of you might know. So I will talk about the event dynamic technique, specifically how its real life application. I will talk about magnetic resonance imaging and how magnetic imaging will help us to improve the patient throughput and it will reduce the many of the things like reduce the infrastructure cost and many other things. So coming to magnetic resonance imaging. So everyone knows whenever you go to a doctor, you doctor as you are doing the imaging, you have to stay still for a longer bit of time. That means there is a chance that the patient might move, and the movement will study the motion artifact they are seeing as blurring in the image. So in that case, you have to repeat the experiment again, and that makes it difficult for the old and young patients. So in that case, you have to use sedation to make them stay still for a longer period of time. So looking at the both the limitations of early immediate solution, it will reduce the scan time. That will address most of these limitations. The question is how to reduce the scan time. One way is to modify the signal attenuation technique, which is quite typical task at the moment. The other one is to reduce design the short scan images. So that will reduce the scan time, and also reduce the burden on the infrastructure burden. So let's see, once somehow we are able to design the images, then how it will benefit us. If you look at the how much it will to reduce the scan time, that means both the patients can be scanned in a lesser amount of time, and that means in some cases you might not need to factor in the sedation, and somehow there will be less limitation of the effect. And it will of course the commercial point of view, it will reduce the infrastructure cost. So coming to similar therapy decomposition, that I am using similar therapy decomposition here to derive the images. Keeping the mathematics aside, then look at the similar therapy decomposition. Now what it does? It transfers by 2D matrix to 3D matrices. So each column of this left matrix is known as singular vector. Hence, known as left singular vector. And the right one, the row of the right matrix is known as the right singular vector. And the middle one basically known as singular matrix. And whose object and elements are zero, that's the elements are known as singular value. What it does is each of these singular values tells us how much weightage each singular vector actually carries, and what are the contribution of each eigenvector to the actual image which you see there. Just take a matrix product, and if you take a matrix product and all this, then that means you can transfer the single image into multiple 2D images. Now instead of a 2D image, you have a 3D structure. Each of these images carries some amount of information of the original input matrix. Now coming to SPD imaging, how the standard SPD imaging process to the pattern almost transform domain imaging technique. What they do, they look at the decomposition part, and they do a thresholding, and then followed by the recording. So in the decomposition, as you see, we transform the image into multiple images. Thresholding is the measure. Thresholding plays a major role in the imaging technique. If you look at the thresholding, the SPD domain, thresholding is applied. Thresholding is not singular value. So what you do, you select a singular value which actually carry the information, and you assume that the singular values beyond this singular vector singular value carry most of the noises. That means what you do, you set all the singular value indexes to 0, and then you obtain the thresholded singular value matrix. So the reconstruction process basically actual the ideal place. And once you reach at some other point, this point, from here on it almost shows the almost same distribution at that of noise values. So if you select this blue line as your threshold, that means you are throwing out the information line in this window. If you select this as your threshold, then you are keeping some of the noise that is lying in this window. That is, this is a crucial part of how to select the threshold that will keep the sufficient information and throw out most of the noise. This is where the standard engineering techniques fail. So to understand how to approach this, you can look at the pixel wise decay of those singular values. So as you know, as you are transforming the single image into multiple images, now let's look at the single pixel. How this single pixel decays with single value text. If you look at this for one single value for noise and noise frequency, they are almost same at this point. But where on this point they are totally different. And for the other pixel they are same almost at this point, but they are different from for this one the noise and noise free are almost after two indexes they are almost so much because these are the thresholds. That is what it does. It is giving noise for this and this threshold and is throwing out some information at this threshold. That means if you what we can do one can to get better image, what one has to do is to select thresholds for individual pixels. Once you obtain the single individual pixel thresholding, then you can achieve an efficient image. So then how will you perform the pixel wise imaging? In a pixel wise imaging, what you are doing essentially you are putting a pixel wise thresholding for each eigenvectors in this. Once you get those single pixel wise threshold matrix, then you multiply after the reconstruction to get the image. So the most crucial part in this is basically selection of threshold. How to select the individual threshold for individual pixel. So for that we basically divide this formula, and if you look at this formula when it saturates, the point of the index value from where it saturates will determine the threshold basically. So if you look at the plot for variable SNR pixel, for different pixels the is variable. So for noisy cases it is saturating faster compared to the less noise cases. In all the cases, one thing you notice that for noise free cases it is saturating faster. That means for noisy images, the saturation parameter we need to keep fewer eigenvalues, fewer singular values are our threshold. Whereas for noise free cases, we have to keep more singular values as our threshold. So that we are not throwing out any of the information at some pixel, and also we are not making noise at one. So once we select the threshold, to decide the thresholding technique, then we apply to the magnetic resonance images. These are basically quantum images that are used for the instrument calibration of the instrument. So if you notice that this is the region where the noise in the noisy images is to right dot basically. Those are not visible clearly. Those are basically buried in the noise. Once you perform the imaging, it comes out clearly. Once you are looking at comparing to reference images, you get almost the same as the reference images. So to say that the different images in this case are obtained after the signal to noise ratio. So higher the PSNR, the better the image quality. Yes, please. Higher, so higher the PSNR, the better is the image quality. Lower the PSNR, basically poor image quality is the bad is the image quality. So PSNR is high for the video image compared to noise quality. So the PSNR is calculated with respect to the reference image. Okay. But then you are looking at the structural similarity index, which says how much similar the image is corresponding to the noisy image or to the reference image. So in the case of noisy images, the reference when compared to reference images, the SSI value basically are quite good. They are 0.5, which is quite low, not acceptable. But once you denoise the images, you are getting near 0.95, which is highly acceptable for that you are recovering all the pixels that they are present in the image. And then CNR will say that how visually good the images are. Say that the visual CNR is quite low for the noisy case, but once you denoise it, the CNR goes up on multiple folds. That means visual quality also improved. So visual quality is essential because when the doctor is examining the MRI images, visual quality plays a crucial role in that case. So we are dividing this formula, divide the algorithm. Then we will sort of comparing with the other existing methods. Basically, these are the once we have the algorithm, then what we did is that we compared it with the widely techniques. Basically, one is adaptive filtering. One is adaptive filtering technique, that's a bilateral filtering technique. One is non-linear local noise technique. Both are modified version of the original version, and they are widely used in MRI. And when we compared our method with these two methods. So that is in the case of noisy data, we look at, and in the denoise case, both the cases. Images are denoised quite well here, but the picture is also blurred. Same case here. Noise is removed, but the image is also blurred, and there are some artifacts. But in the denoising case, it is clearly, those two regions are clearly seen. Same with the block structures. If you look at the blocks, noise is removed, but the block is also blurred in this case. The same with this technique. But in the case of our technique, we recover those pictures and get those block pictures. Same for the finer structure that we are interested in. But here you can see the finer structure, but these are somehow not clear. Contrast is quite poor. But in this case, it is totally gone. The noise is, there is no noise in the image, but the pictures are almost gone. So that is what you recover the pictures. quite more compared to the other two labels. So the memory uses. Memory is low for this case, but it's not anyway not producing good images. So it is not computationally expensive and takes real time and can produce better quality. So what we need to look at the few human MRI images, because human MRI brain images, I don't know why they contrasting on brain images. But if you look at the noisy case, that is around 140 seconds, so we need to calculate obtain these images. So if you look at these regions, basically those regions are affected by artifacts, even in this region. But in case of linear images, those are got better, which are similar to the reference images. So the noisy case is 1 minute 33 seconds, the reference image is 2 minutes 33 seconds. In the second case, if you look at the again same region, if you look at and you look there are artifacts in this region, but they are recovered in the noisy case. Those are not clear, I know, but they are basically. So, but if you look at the other structure, there are other structures which are not visible. Basically, there is a region here which is basically not in this case, but those are clear in these two. What it shows basically here we applied to the real-time cases to obtain the same image quality as the reference cases, but in a reduced time. That is not the R.I.H.S. Yes. So to summarize what we saw, basically the technique basically reduce the noise efficiently. That is evident in the fixed signal to noise ratios. But once we look at structural similarity index, that is greater than 0.95. What it says is basically you are recovering all the crucial information in the images. That is necessary diagnosis. Then if you look at the contrast noise ratio, that is it increases by 2 to 3 times in many cases. That it says basically you have a better contrast, better visual contrast compared to the noise of the reference also, which is similar to the reference. Then it is then basically once you are able to see that 50% of reduced content you are reduced to your scan images, then actually this has the potential and is almost in the stage to be integrated into an MRI imaging system to produce images into the lesser scan. With this, I would like to acknowledge my mentor, Dr. Madhu Srivastava, who was my postdoc supervisor at London. I did the work there basically. Then Professor Asya Pradhan, my PhD supervisor, mentor. So these are the people basically involved in this project. This seminar is a doctor and practice medicine, they are and Nimesh is the master student who actually wrote the course for this work, and any question is radiology start subject. So this I would like to thank you and take your questions.
My opinion, please.
They are nice talk. Like, have you used those functional MRI images or the static images? Oh, you have not tried your model in functional MRI images?
We have done that, but that we are showing in another paper. So we have submitted that paper.
Okay.
Basically, what we have done, we have started with mouse model, then real ethical reasons we need to show that. Second thing is we wanted to show that in another paper.
So, in the functional image, you are targeting the brain or in any other region? No, here this is brain. In the functional MRI,
brain plus noise.
so in the complete brain, you are targeting or specific regions you can also zoom in and look into the activities?
Yes. With this technique, you can actually design specific targeted regions, and
nowadays use machine learning for these images classifications and other things. Basically, we are using SPD to enhancing the contrast or something, better image, right? To remove the noise, denoising, so you are using SPD for denoising. But when we compare it with machine learning, people use a lot of data, use machine learning to have a better image. So how it is this mathematical method is compared to that one?
Okay, let's talk about machine learning is a different issue. But to train a machine learning model, you need thousands of images and thousands of similar images. So is this practical? So think about it. Is this practical first? Let's say it's practical. After going to trust. Second, here what we are showing, because we are showing that we are not saying that we are getting this information, this is that or that. We are saying if we are taking a noisy image, basically tomorrow engineering takes around 40 to 40 minutes. What I was saying, instead of 40 to 40 minutes, you are getting an image around 15 minutes. If you are denoise, you get the same information that you are getting at 20 minutes. We are not talking about machine learning. Machine learning is exactly what I know if you want to do. The thing is that machine learning
I wanted to add to this discussion because SPD is powerful algorithm. Without knowing, we have used it all of us. So all it says, because past history talks, all it says that any matrix, non-square, can be written as a unit matrix, a diagonal matrix, and a diagonal. Then, now we have used it particle physics, yesterday mass mathematics, and if you have spent some time on it, it's a very powerful method. In fact, you can use it even in some quantum device.
Particularly analyzing quantum theory, we lost the SPD. So, but the kind of pixels, say, you map into SPD, and in that way you denoise with it, right?
We have written something for that. It's very fascinating. It's based on family law. Very nice one.
This applies to all kind of matrices.
Any matrix. Okay. Any matrix. So when I was in the University Center, I saw social science people using it differently. Then I realized they are using it differently simply because very powerful. All it means is that take a matrix, break it up into three parts. Very good. Now it's supposed to be mind up. Quite good. So I will be very brief and since students are around, I request you to take note of this kind of talks. Like for example, Dr. Gaman Sahu, what he pointed out to you is data analysis, simple and value decomposition. You look up his works and other people's work. They are being used now in artificial intelligence, machine learning, real applications, stock market analysis. So data analysis is something you must learn, but the whole world is not about data analysis. Okay, so I was in R.I.H.S, Kolkata. Now I have moved to SOA University. There is a center there, Center for Quantum Science and Technology. I am leading that center. We have now 4 faculty. So we work on this national quantum research programs like quantum image processing, quantum algorithms, and basic quantum communication. Basically, we have large number of project students. In fact, lot of project students are MSc and even senior PhD go to my website, you will find out that most of my research is done by, like we take images of this. So for example, when I came to R.I.H.S, first 4 students came from our university, this Fakir University. 4 students, 2 boys and 2 girls. My research started in R.I.H.S because this is 4 kids. Now the group has expanded, for example, Jano is a member of that. So if you see, quantum is appearing in quantum biology, quantum image processing, quantum materials everywhere. Government of India has dedicated 6,000 crores to it. There are 4 verticals they are working on. Quantum sensing, that is set up in I.I.T. Bombay. Basically, people from all over India have I.T. projects. I.I.T. is monitored by I.I.T. Bombay. A lot of money has been given. So what kind of things people are using quantum sensors for? They are using to detect weak magnetic field. Hopefully, it will be useful to detect cancer, to detect brain anomaly. So sensing is a wide applicability. For example, you will find out there are talks here on sensing, and so this is quantum sensing. Now quantum materials, you talked about now, you read newspapers, you find out people are talking about, topological insulators, superconductors of novel kind, very quantum materials. Material science is the key technology. And that way we must have heard about magnets, rare earth magnet, new batteries. So if you want to reduce pollution, if you want to reduce consumption of energy, you have to come up with novel materials. Countries like China, Japan, USA, they are actually way ahead because of material science. So National Quantum Mission has a dedicated area from IIT Delhi which is taking care of quantum materials. And then comes quantum communication. IIT R.I.H.S is the key to communication. So you see from very beginning, they have a very dedicated group of researchers who have a model to work in communication. For example, thanks to them, we have optical fibers in which quantum communication is going through. For example, if you are curious, check out in Government of India, every ministry is communicating with each other through optical fibers by quantum cryptography. In RBI, all the things are being done through quantum cryptography, and that is primarily started by R.I.H.S. If you check, there are companies now, there is a company called QNU, and there is another company based in Bangalore, there is one company based in Noida, but actually manufacturing quantum communication devices. So the so-called quantum communication, quantum computing has come to reality. So now the question is that where do we begin? And to your good luck, I'll give you examples. All the young people who are here, you will find out that people from any branch, knowing little bit of mathematics or matrices, understanding little bit of quantum or measurement, you can actually start doing research. If you do, for example, check out in the web, you will find out a lot of these kids from smaller colleges are actually taking courses in quantum computer through IBM. IBM is offering free courses with YouTube and many other things. They are giving you certificate, you can sit here and qualify. And actually, most of them you will be doing better than us, the older people. So I encourage that people take up these kind of things. Similarly, for example, quantum algorithms, how to develop powerful algorithms. Government of India is doing it through Department of Science and Technology that they have kept in their own. There are 4 areas where government has put huge money. Private companies have poured money. There are 8 or 9 startups who are taking a lot of project rules. You can just look up these things. So if you look at, for example, China is a big leader. There are 4 satellites out there, quantum satellites. America, the private companies are also doing well. If you take a look at, if you use the word, you will find out Amaravati, the capital of Andhra Pradesh, has a quantum center. IBM has already put up a small quantum computer there. They are building a giant one. Similarly, for Karnataka. Now we have Vishwajit from Odisha. Karnataka has got a 18 crore quantum computer, a private company. Government is giving them that. So you see, all these states have woke up. Hopefully, our things will improve here. I was told that there is some program in Odisha where quantum computing is being taken up. So anyway, that's very briefly tell you that why that 21st century we have waited for so long. Yeah. So basically I'll tell you that right now where are we, what are the basic principles of quantum computing, and why it has taken, in the beginning, 1925 until now, wake up. And actually it is not that. It's a very mysterious area. Only now we are beginning to understand how to use it. It is still mysterious. We still don't understand how it works, but we know how to use it. So now next one please. As I told you, I have 15-20 minutes of time. So for example, these are the kind of things which you read in the newspaper. This company, R.I.H.S, is basically one PhD and postdoc fellow from Germany or Europe. They came up and they have started this private company, startup in Bangalore. They have already designed it to make superconducting quantum system. It's a private company. So now, these are the kind of things which are being encouraged by National Quantum Mission, which is aimed to end here. Next one, please. Next one. So you see that message looks like this. What it is, it's a basically a cooling platform. What you see is a cooler. You have to cool it down to very low temperature. With a cooling platform which looks like this, big thing. Inside that, there is a quantum chip which is very small. So the design, for example, is through superconducting material, and the standard, there are two standard designs all over the world people are using it. So there's one of those designs started in Yale University, USA, the other one in Japan. So this one I think is Yale University, they will not tell you exactly what they're doing, but the design, nowadays in theory also people do it. Next one please. So now Andhra has come up with these things. They have already allotted electricity, and I was told that IBM has started constructing, and 156-bit quantum computer will be coming up there. Now, see, these kind of things you cannot see. What you do is you access them to the cloud. So through cloud, right now also, if you sit here and log in, IBM will give you free access to the real quantum computer for 15 minutes. So you can actually access real quantum computers and do quantum computation sitting here. And we did it when I was in Palani, in a village called Mohanpur. So it's not very surprising that young people are taking a big interest in this area. Next one, please. Yeah. See, for example, if you see, how we are really doing as Indians in quantum computing. So, for example, this person is a serious quantum researcher in America, in IBM. So, for example, you see his team and his own comments that we have actually a good number of young Indians who are into it. So, for example, he said India has the second highest open access quantum computing users. Users after India. Now, next one, please. Now, this one is a report by McKinsey, Panik in Boston. If you see, it's the 19, and things more or less similar now also. India has the highest number of quantum trained graduates, highest number. You will ask where are they coming from? Actually, from the standard colleges, but from courses offered through IBM and getting certification from here. And many of our students have done projects here and there. So you can see research-wise also, this young group of people are doing quite well. So India is not, for example, India's number is bigger than the European Union. But I think now it has caught up, but China also is doing very, very well. Next one, please. I give you some examples. So this Abhinav Khandaran, his father was the first director of Chari in R.I.H.S Berhampur. So he has some Berhampur connection. So he is the first person who produced a good paper on quantum biology. The first biologically active drug molecule was designed in 2019 by this team. I think Princeton PhD, works for Google now. You can look it up, very nice person. And this quantum error correction, he has a lot of original contributions. Next one. So I will give you a couple of examples. Srishti Agarwal, our girl from Sambalpur, did his master's MSc, BSMS in R.I.H.S Kolkata, did a final year project with me, finished her PhD. Now she was into quantum technology from the very beginning. University of Colorado, she won a big money, started her own this startup, and what they are going to do, co-founded R.I.H.S Quantum. There is a Brazilian guy, R.I.H.S Quantum, which will be a quantum chip. So that will be a powerful quantum sensor to help them determine exactly where they are on the Earth. Namely, if Google GPS fails, our system will take over. Big money, she got 4 million, now I have a report, she got around 20 million more. You see, our Sambhalpur girl, Sriti, just finished her PhD and into quantum business. Next one, please. Now our Bhubaneswar, Sonali Mahapatra, another girl from myself, Kolkata, physics, PhD, and finally did from UK. Now she is a spokesperson and technology leader in National Quantum Computing Center in UK. And she is a very good motivator. If some of you are interested, send her an email. I give you her address. She loves giving talks and motivating students. So she comes to Odisha, you can invite her to come here and give a talk. These are the two girls from Odisha itself. I don't want to give other examples, there are many more. Next one, please. So I give example of Urmila Mahadev. She is now an associate professor in Caltech. See, basically, when people came up with a quantum computer, it was called new wave quantum computer. Everybody asked this question: is it a real quantum computer or is it a black box? You are pretending you are a quantum computer. So she spent 8 years working and showing that what kind of questions is asked. If the computer answers properly, you measure things properly, you can actually qualify as a quantum. 8 years, one paper, and finally, it's an associate professor. Next one, please. And they are all not physics people, mathematics, physics, computer science, okay. Now, for example, I give you another one. This year, this person, this year, got this Nobel Prize. And this has connection not exactly with quantum computing, but has the theoretical work he has done, people strongly believe would be used in quantum computing. So this was in 2021 2016, this year's Nobel Prize. And next one, please. So I always give this example. When the students come to a project, they always claim I am very young and I do quantum computing. So I give this example for you. She was 17 when she went up to high school, a summer project in University of Texas. This professor told her, can you solve this Sudoku problem for me? Sudoku problem. Some numbers are missing, can you fill it up? Of course, the conditions are slightly different than Sudoku, because he was told that the matrices which appear there have low rank and long spots, but some numbers are missing, can you fill them up? So she came up with an algorithm and showed that you can do it very quickly. Why was it revolutionary? It was revolutionary because these MIT scientists have shown earlier the quantum computer can solve this problem very fast, better than a classical computer. The ones who is used. She showed that's not true. Classical computer is enough. So this I am telling you because first of all, she has finished her PhD now. And younger people, if they understand little bit about measurement, can contribute. And even now also that is big rate to show quantum computers are really needed or not needed. So for quantum advantage, does it really exist? Can a classical computer not do something which a quantum computer do? So far, except some simple things, quantum computers have not done anything better. Okay, next one please. So for example, she got this year this R.I.H.S Frontier Prize. Some people when you are young, please read about this Iranian lady, R.I.H.S, who came from a very bad background, got physics, mathematics Olympiad, gold medal. Then eventually did remarkable work, got the mathematics fifth medal, unfortunately died at the age of 40, couple of years back. So this award is in her name and this girl got it. Next one please. See, this Ratula Srivastava is our Professor Panda will be very happy, our nicer student. When I saw this class, I was amazed that this girl is from NICER, where Professor Panda was director, and must have seen her, and she has got this huge piece of work. Very recently, she is another girl who got it. Maria Merjak award, which is really big award. Breakthrough Prize Foundation. Next one, please. Okay, so this is our Government of India initiative. I have already mentioned to you. From from 8,000 crore it has come to 6,000 crore, and it has also changed. So I think now it is 6 years, better up to 3 plus 3. But the program has really started already, and money has come to centers. So hopefully they will come to other smaller places in due course of time in the next 6 months. Okay, next one please. So this I have already told you, so I don't want to repeat more. Please next one. Because you people are hungry, so I will try to. Next one please. So this is the international year of the quantum. Now why did it take 100 years for the quantum mechanics to become technology? Or has it become technology? So that's what I will emphasize. Next one please. So for example, quantum mechanics is correct or not? That is what we started doing last century. Quantum mechanics seems to work, but then there are questions Einstein asked for paradox, nuclear paradox. How does quantum mechanics work? Is it really quantum or something else is doing the job? So-called hidden theories which are not quantum. So these three gentlemen, they showed in 1982 that it is really quantum. What is really quantum? We don't understand it, but it's quantum. And two of them are Europeans, one of them is American. All of them are perfectly alive. And I think, except Laos, all of them have come to India multiple times. So, for example, Zeilinger goes to Dalai Lama every other year. Aspect has come to Calcutta at least 5-6 times. I am getting there. Okay, so next one please. So now let's go to, see, for example, some of the progress which has been done recently. Just few days back, Japan launched a fully domestically produced quantum computer. So this, you see, where is it coming up? Osaka Center for Quantum Information and Quantum Biology. See, biology is something which now they are putting together. Block design, understanding biological processes, those things is where quantum finance also is where this quantum thing is coming in. Next one please. So this is, that is the kind of cryogenic low temperature thing we have to create. And many of these things you can buy, but some of those things you have to develop yourself. Next one. Okay. So for example, the race started here in 2019. Google produced a chip, a silicon board chip, leaving that very hot. Then people showed that it's not very powerful. Classical computer can do the same thing. So that is that silicon board chip, 2019. Now, so this Willow, this chip called Willow, W-I-L-L-O, that came up like last year. So again, the claim is that it has done a very fast calculation. Supercomputer will take huge amount of time, age of the universe or more than that. But again, it remains to be seen because I am pretty sure some young fellows like you will show that it can be done on a regular computer very fast. So now basically, you see private companies, Microsoft, Google, IBM, they are all into it very quickly. Next one please. Okay, this Microsoft is lagging very a little bit because see, based on some condensed matter system called Majorana particles is very robust. But yet they are not able to produce something behind it. Or maybe they are doing it, they have not come up with this thing. But if it comes, it will be very robust. So some of you are curious, look up in the net, who is this Majorana? You have many particles people here. Very fascinating story. It will motivate many of you. It was a Majorana story of neutrino-physics. Next one please. So when it started, quantum computing, how did it start? Because mathematics was known. Like for example, Schrodinger and Heisenberg, they gave you principle. Dirac wrote the book in 1932. Then why did it take so long? How did it really start? Next one please. Okay. Now, okay, so basically let me summarize for you. See this, after quantum mechanics started, people computed hydrogen atom, other spectral problems, it seems to work. There is Einstein, Coden and Rudolph, EPR paradox. They pointed out that quantum mechanics is non-local. What is the meaning of non-local? It means you can actually do something here, it will affect something else at different place. How is it that in quantum mechanics you can do something here for somebody else sitting in Delhi or Washington is affected? So the non-locality of quantum mechanics, positive, EV and paradox. So that happened because quantum mechanics is superposition principle. States can exist in a superposition state, like a wave. Yet there is no particle behavior. So this fundamental coexistence of particle and wave nature created lot of controversies, lot of paradoxes. Next one please. So then, for example, just give a timeline. This quantum mechanics kept existent to Max Planck's black body radiation 1900, Fotoelectric effect 1905, Einstein showed that this particle reaction core used this old hydrogen quantum mechanics to solve the hydrogen problem. They showed what is the connection between classical world and quantum mechanics, both correspondence principle. He also said about measurement, particularly something called measurement leading to collapse of the wave function. Since then, we have been trying to understand how the wave function collapses. Many ideas, experimental proof, we don't understand. This wave particle duality is something another thing, a particle and a wave simultaneously. That is creating many of the controversies, many of the paradoxes, but they are aware. So this 25-27 period, Heisenberg and Schrödinger, they gave rise to quantum mechanics, one to matrices, one to differential equation, and Heisenberg gave very precise thing called uncertainty principle. You can't measure two variables simultaneously if they don't commute, like rotational momentum. So that is another one which has created a lot of paradoxes since then. Next one please. Okay, so then, so 1935 is a gap paradox. So now then people try to resolve this paradox. Then, on then, 1964 came up with this paper, so that if you measure, and if you find something is between 2 to 2, then quantum mechanics is correct. It is non-local but correct. That is what these people are doing. They measured some quantity which is called well running inequality. They found it is 2 to root 2. If it is 2, it is classical. If it is 2 to root 2, it is quantum. So quantum theory exists. Yes, the words are in quantum theory, but it is non-local. You can do something here, it will affect things far away. How does it work? You do not know. Okay, next one. So some technology. So then people started, John Horneman gave a regular computer to us. People started playing around with computers. Computers started being used in research. Then came to us all over the world right now. Then size became smaller and smaller. When size became smaller, heating started. People tried to understand why that heating. Then they found out that non-reversible processes give rise to heat. And how to make it reversible? It's at Feynman and for many of they showed if you can come up with a regular computer which is reversible, and that means you have to use quantum mechanics. Design gates into quantum mechanics, that will go heating. So that is what people started, that you can do that, and that is how quantum computers started being designed, produce quantum gates so that you don't get heating. Then how do you really design a quantum computer? That was 1985 in the US. So in between this period, the technology people got interested. 1984, this Bennett and Russell from IBM and US of Montreal were visiting Bangalore. They heard these people talking about measurement into collapse of the state. These two people, they sat down, we sat in a group, and they had a beer in a restaurant there, for this cryptographic algorithm. Basically what they showed that if there are two parties, Alice and Bob, they talk to each other to a quantum ratio. If somebody else tries to see that if this state will change, by knowing the state has changed, you can do eavesdropping kind of. That is quantum cryptography will be secure. That is called BBAP protocol. That is what is now tested all over the world. It has been realized. Now, for example, check, you find out between Auxiliary Vaishnav's office in Delhi and DHT, there is a quantum cryptographic open space going on. There is a challenge. If you can decrypt the message, the minister has promised in languages. It's there in the newspaper. So that is quantum communication through light particles in free space going on between the Department of Science and Technology headquarters and that of communication link. intercept, no police directive, decrypt it, decrypt the language. So that one communication